Welcome to the Barreto family. My name is Kayla Barreto, and this is Eliana Barreto. And we are missionaries along with my husband in Colombia, South America. And on this channel, we do videos on ministry, missions, and motherhood. I challenged myself this year that I was going to read a book a month. And in January, super successful. February, I'm going to count it a success. Technically, I finished the book the 5th of March. So I'm a little behind, but hey, I have read 2 books. We're 2 months into the year. I still have 26 days to finish the 3rd book. I'm going to make it. We're going to do it. And the reason this book was so hard for me is because I did not like it. I didn't even agree with most of it. Do you like to read? She's reading Hush Little Polar Bear. I love this book. This one has a cute little tune that goes along with it too. But the problem that I found was, so this is the book that I read. It's called For Better or For Best by Smalley. And the problem that I had with this book was, honestly, he makes a note that this isn't manipulation. I'm not teaching you manipulation tactics. So he makes that statement, but then the majority of the book is all about how to manipulate your husband. It's really psychological tactics to get your husband to do what you want him to do, which personally, I don't find biblical in the least. The other thing is that he added a few Bible passages. He would quote a few scriptures at the beginning of some, if not all of the chapters, there was a verse, but then he never talked about how that verse applied. So really, this book didn't challenge me in any way spiritually. It didn't challenge me to become a better wife. It really gave me ideas of how I can trick my husband into doing what I want him to do. And you've gotten a hold of this book a couple times. So, would I recommend this book? Not even a chance. Wow. Do you think I should recommend the book? No, Sophie. No. Yeah, you think that's funny. So, I wouldn't recommend this book. I would not say it's the worst book I've ever read. And I actually did highlight, and I'm going to share with you, there were like 6 or 7 things that I liked that the author stated. So I'm going to share with you the few tidbits. You want this book, but mommy needs to read from that book. Yeah, book. I'm going to share with you a few tidbits that I did take away, so it wasn't a complete loss. In 207 pages, I took away 6 or 7 things. So I'm going to go ahead and share those with you. Let me see if I can get a different book that Eliana will enjoy. How about this one? How about your Crown Book of Feelings? And Eliana loves books. And then we'll hide this one behind her and see if we can keep sharing with you guys. So I have way more sad faces than happy faces, but I dog-eared the pages of the ones that I liked. So one of the statements was, I believe the ideal marriage evolves when the wife concentrates on meeting her husband's needs and the husband concentrates on meeting his wife's needs. Sacrificial love. I think that is definitely biblical. I think that's a great tidbit. I need to not focus on getting what I want, which is hilarious because the rest of the book is all about how to manipulate him to get what I want. But I need to try to love him and focus on his needs rather than focusing on mine. So I did enjoy that, but I thought it was a little contradictory to the other 90% of the book. Let's go to the next one. I've got these pages dog-eared. This one talks about gratitude, and it says the power of gratefulness, and I'm going to paraphrase, is a great way to motivate a man to want a better relationship. Yes, we should be grateful. How many times did the Bible say, be grateful, be thankful in all circumstances? But again, like we're stretching the context of those biblical verses. But yes, it's always important to be grateful, to be thankful for what we have, for where we're at, for our relationship in general. And that's only going to push things to want to be better. So again, liked that comment, agree with that comment. The next one, are you ready? We're going to share this one. If you have a tendency to react immediately when you hear his ideas, discipline yourself to withhold your reaction until his entire thought sinks in. And you've had a chance to consider his idea fully. So I think that's important as well. I think a lot of times we jump to conclusions or try to cut someone off because because we hear the initial thought and we're like, no, I don't agree with that. Wait, let the person share their whole idea. And then if you agree or disagree, wait till it sinks in, process it before responding. I think that's just a great communication tactic. Process, think before you speak. Great communication tactic. Are we ready to find the next one? Are you going to help mamas? Okay, let's see. So we're at 3. I think we have 4 and 5. I might not even get to 6. All right. This one says feelings. Feelings are changeable. They can come and go, but love is an unchanging commitment. One thing that my husband and I have said since the day we got married. So he'll often ask me, why do you love me? Because I choose to love you. Love is a choice. It's an unchanging commitment. It's not something that we throw by the wayside when things get hard. It's not something that we scoff at or take for granted. It's an unchanging commitment. So yeah, I may not feel like I love him in a specific moment, but I made a commitment to choose to love him day in and day out because he's my husband. So I did like that one. It's an unchanging commitment. I can't change it. I chose to be married to him, and I will choose to be married to him every day of my life. Ready? Let's see. What does the next one say? I think there's only one more, Sophia, and then you may have this book. Let's see. Okay, the last one that I marked. And this one has to do with you, Peanut. Are you ready? This one has to do with you. Ready? We're going to read it. For your children's sake, it is crucial that you and your husband do everything possible to strengthen your love relationship. If I want Eliana to have the best family life, to grow up in a home full of love, then we constantly, my husband and I, need to be working on improving our relationship. It doesn't have to be bad before you want to improve it. We constantly want it to become better, for us to love each other more deeply, for us to love each other more selflessly, for us to love each other better. And so I will say I did find a few takeaways. This is not the worst book I've ever read. It wasn't necessarily that there were things that were totally against the Bible, but it did have a lot of psychology. It had a lot of, honestly, manipulation tactics, even though the author makes a statement. This isn't trying to manipulate, but as he's making that statement, it all had to do with manipulation. Also, I almost forgot. The other thing that I did not appreciate about this book, on top of it being more psychology and manipulation tactics, is that the author assumes that women are all homemakers. And it's slightly, I don't want to say derogatory, because it really wasn't. He wasn't rude. But it's almost offensive, some of the things that he portrays, on almost assuming that all women just stay home. And if your husband doesn't appreciate you staying home, here's what to do. This book was made almost explicitly for a Susie Homemakers type. And I didn't agree with or approve of or appreciate some of the ways that he portrayed women in the home. Because if you're a stay-at-home mom, that is a full-time job, and it should be valued and respected and honored. If you are a mom that works outside the home, that should be valued and respected and honored. And honestly, this book just didn't do it. It was fairly judgmental in the way that he almost assumes that that's the role of a woman and that's kind of where you should be. And he mentions 2 or 3 times throughout the book, maybe you also have a job. Okay, but many women have jobs, whether they're working at home, whether they are working outside the home, whatever the case may be. And being a mom, honestly, it counts as a job because it's a full-time thing. But so yeah, that was just the other thing. It just didn't sit well with me. Didn't appreciate the book. Not gonna keep it. Most books I keep, and then some I hand over to other people, but definitely not keeping this one. So would I ever recommend this book? No. And with that being said, help me out. I need some good book recommendations because I do not want to go through another month where I'm trying to get through a book that is just like pulling teeth. So if you have a good book recommendation, it does not have to be a Christian book or what we might consider a self-help book, But if you have a good book, I do only want to read clean books, nothing that has topics that aren't biblical, aren't acceptable. I don't know how to put that, but I like fiction. I'm not a huge nonfiction fan. I do like historical stories, like things along the lines of The Diary of Anne Frank. I read one, I can't remember what it was called, but there was one that I read on a mission trip. Family loaned it to me. I read it in a week. It was so good. I need to try to look it up. But it was all about a Chinese missionary, and it was just incredible. So I love true stories. I love fiction books. I do enjoy books that challenge me in my relationship with God. So if you have some suggestions on that, please let me know. If you want to see the last book that I read, you guys can click over here and I'll put a link to the book that I read for January. If you want to keep following me and see our content as missionaries and see more videos like this as well, go ahead and click subscribe and click that notification bell, and we will see you on the next video.